All right, guys, welcome back. Yeah, I've always taught that, and it's because I was taught this way, that one is none, two is one, three is two, exactly. And so having a knife system that is built upon a platform of redundancy is important, especially if you're going to be doing any type of long hunt, or you're going to be spending multiple days out in the wilderness, and especially so if you are finding yourself in a tactical situation or you happen to be an operator. You're going to need a redundancy with your blades. And so I always take out three blades when I go out. And of course I've got my main knife, which is usually something along this size right here. This happens to be the LT Wright Genesis Scandi. You know, it's not a big blade, you know, but this is usually the blade that I usually take out. It's, 4.5 to 5 inches, maybe up to 6, but it's usually this size right here. And it just needs to be a knife that's going to be able to do all the work that I need to do, whether it is processing a little bit of firewood, processing game, whatever it might be. The main EDC needs to be a stout knife, full tang, and this one happens to have great micarta scales. LT Wright is one of our favorites. And it's one of your favorites. We have received thousands and thousands of emails concerning whatever video or article that we put out about LT Wright. Now, it isn't so much that I want to say LT Wright is the guy I always want to take out, but something along this size. I've got a couple other blades that I wanted to show you while we're out here today. The other one happens to come from Tops Knives, and the reason I'm bringing this out is to show you that you don't have to spend a ton of money to get a great knife. Now the LT Wright, I think it's around $200 and something, something like that. I really don't know, but this happens to be the Tops Knives Brothers of the Bushcraft, and that is an organization that has dedicated their whole focus on making bushcrafters more familiar, networking, so they've got some smarts on their staff when they designed this knife, and Tops collaborated with them. And where we got this knife at, and the reason I've kept this, we've got this through a battle box. And this is one of the better knives that I've seen through battle box. All the knives are pretty good, but this is one of my favorite here because it is the perfect bushcraft knife. It's full tang, micarta scales. It's got bow drill divots on both sides. I don't know if you can see that very well. Yeah, nice lanyard hold. It's got a ferro rod striker. Everything about it is good. High carbon steel. Jimping, everything you need. But you can see that it is just a tad bit bigger than the LT Wright that I've got on my hip right now. If you're talking about a tactical knife, then something like this one came from Grayman Knives, and this is the MP Boy, and you can see this says tactical all over it. It's actually a single grind, but it has two cutting edges, one your main cutting edge, and you got the cutting edge secondary on the top, and both of them are shaved sharp. And Grayman Knives puts out some of the best tactical knives on the planet. I showed you one last week that we've been reviewing and looking at, which was the MSK1 Elite Warrior, and this is in the same class. But I mean, Mike from Grayman Knives was an operator. I can't remember what country. He was in Africa, and you can tell this guy has got some corn in his crib, and he knows what he's doing with a tactical knife. So those are three of the main EDC knives that I would take out. So a secondary knife, what would that be? Well, for me, it would be a neck knife. Now, you got to understand the concept behind the three knife system. Basically, you want to prevent yourself from being in a situation where you don't have a blade. So if you only take out a primary blade, and you you happen to fall down or whatever. But years ago, this is a practical application for me. I didn't even fall down. I sat down, and somehow my sheath flipped up because it wasn't lashed down to my leg, and the knife slipped out in a very, very quiet area. There was no dry leaves, nothing around, and I walked off without my knife. Now, luckily for me, I was able to trace my steps back and found the knife because there wasn't a lot of browse on the ground. But it could have been, and then I would have been without that knife. And so that was a practical lesson that reinforced all the teaching that I had received. So I have always embraced that thought. Got a deer popping up over there. I've always embraced the philosophy that having two knives is better than one because of that case. And then so what I do is I make sure that I carry some type of secondary knife around my neck, and this happens to be from Tops. This is a small knife. That's all it is. It serves as a secondary knife just in case something happens to my primary knife. Now, it's not going to be able to do the things that a big knife can do, obviously, but it could get me by. This one is the current 1776 model, which came from a battle box. Real sweet little knife. And all of his videos, Brandon's videos, you see him put out for battle box. He's got this dude hanging around his neck, and I like this knife, and that's why it's around my neck. I've got several different neck knives like this, but this happens to be one of my favorites because of the performance, and I don't wear it outside of my shirt like a lot of guys do because I don't want it, getting in my way. It's not for show, it's for go. I need it to work with, not to be styling with. So that brings me up to the third style of knife that I would recommend, and that, of course, would be what I carry with me in my pocket. This pocket knife here happens to also be from Grayman. This is a tactical pocket knife that it was the folder of the year a couple years ago. But you could see the size on it. I don't like a knife that's diminutive. I don't like the small pocket knives because, again, the reason that I do this is for redundancy. So if I happen to lose my first knife or my second knife fails, I've got me a stout knife within my pocket that will be able to deliver the mail for me, that it can actually do some good work. As a habit, I do not baton with my pocket knives, but in a pinch, I guarantee you this guy would take it because I've done it. We did a full review on this, and you might want to check it out at backwoodsbiker.com and read one of the former magazines. It might even be on the cover of one of them. I can't remember, but we have done a video on this too. So there you have it, and you have the reason why. When you go out in the woods, whether it's 5 miles from home or 500 miles from home in the wilderness, you need to set yourself up for success and not failure, because failing out in the wilderness could cost you your life. Blades are very important, and I want to make sure that if one goes down, you don't even have to lose it. I mean, knives do break, and even the best knives can be broken, and you don't want to be left out in the situation where you have to have a knife and you don't have one. That's what we want to get around. So listen, you guys be safe out there. Appreciate you watching the video and the questions that you give all the time. We've had some great questions here lately that we're trying to get to. And this was one of them. I feel like this is a very important question that I wanted to answer. So hit that like and subscribe button. You become a subscriber. We put you in our monthly database where we pull out free gear, give it away every month. And sometimes we do give out knives, and just most of the gear is stuff that I would carry out myself. So it's pretty dope stuff. So again, thank you for your support and all your emails, and until next time, you guys ride free, you live free, and as always, you be safe out there, especially since you're sharing the woods with the deer right now.